The ongoing conflict between Hamas and Israel is a tragic and deeply troubling chapter in the turbulent history of the Middle East. For decades, this region has been marred by violence, bloodshed, and an unending cycle of retaliation. The recent spate of Hamas attacks on Israel is a stark reminder of the enduring enmity and cruelty that persists in this long-standing conflict. To understand the current situation, it is crucial to delve into the historical context. The roots of the Israel-Hamas conflict stretch back to the mid-20th century, with the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. Hamas, an acronym for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya, Islamic Resistance Movement, emerged in the late 1980s as an Islamist organization in the Gaza Strip. From its inception, Hamas has been driven by an uncompromising agenda: the destruction of Israel and the establishment of an Islamic State. One of the most troubling aspects of Hamas's attacks on Israel is its indiscriminate use of violence. While the group claims to be fighting for Palestinian liberation, its tactics reveal a blatant disregard for civilian life. Hamas routinely launches rocket attacks from populated areas, using civilians as human shields. This reprehensible strategy puts Palestinian civilians in grave danger and is a clear violation of international humanitarian law. Furthermore, Hamas has a history of employing suicide bombings and terrorist attacks against Israeli civilians. These heinous acts have caused immeasurable suffering and have done nothing to advance the cause of peace or Palestinian self-determination. Such cruel tactics have only served to deepen the divide between Israelis and Palestinians and have hindered any prospects for a lasting solution to the conflict. Another troubling aspect of Hamas's actions is its misappropriation of international aid meant for the Palestinian people. Instead of using resources to improve the lives of Gazans, Hamas diverts funds and materials to build tunnels and procure weapons. This not only perpetuates the cycle of violence but also deprives Palestinians of much-needed assistance. Hamas's refusal to recognize Israel's right to exist and engage in meaningful negotiations has hindered any progress towards a peaceful resolution. Its intransigence and insistence on armed struggle have contributed to the enduring suffering of the Palestinian people. It is important to acknowledge the toll that Hamas attacks take on Israeli civilians as well. Rockets fired from Gaza have terrorized Israeli towns and cities, causing physical and psychological harm to innocent civilians. The constant threat of rocket attacks has forced Israelis to live in a state of constant fear, with parents having to explain to their children why they must seek shelter when sirens wail. In response to Hamas attacks, Israel has undertaken military operations aimed at eliminating the threat posed by the group's weapons and infrastructure. While Israel has a right to defend itself, the high civilian casualty count in Gaza during these operations is a cause for concern. The civilian suffering on both sides is a tragic consequence of this protracted conflict. The ongoing Hamas attacks on Israel are a painful reminder of the cruelty and violence that have defined this long-standing conflict. While there is no easy solution to the Israel-Palestine issue, it is crucial for all parties involved to prioritize the well-being of civilians and seek peaceful avenues for resolution. Hamas's tactics, characterized by indiscriminate violence and a refusal to recognize Israel's right to exist, only serve to prolong the suffering of both Palestinians and Israelis. It is time for a renewed commitment to diplomacy, dialogue, and a peaceful coexistence that allows both Israelis and Palestinians to live in security and dignity.